Okay. Hello, everybody, and it's a bright, beautiful day in Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome to GBOriginal Cre8ors, and I'm your host, Ezeagu Ndi-GBO. I'm seated here with a longtime friend and colleague of mine, Victor Onochie. Victor, great to meet you again, man. It's been quite a while.
It's been quite a while. It's been how many years?
20 years,
20 years.
to be precise.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Victor, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, man?
Okay, so I'm a coach, a leadership development coach. I work with both individuals and I work in organizations with teams. And so basically I help people be able to find out what's most important to them and helping them to be able to pursue and actualize it. And also I help organizations be able to put in context what's most important to ensuring their success. I also work with couples, marriage, and all. That's something that's very, very personal to me. So basically that's the span of what I do, basically coaching and consulting and trainings.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about it is, it gels with the overall, what's the word? The overall mission of my company, GBOriginal Cre8ors, because we are all about helping people, showcasing the best that the world has to offer by helping people, individuals, corporations to bring out their best, their fullest potential.
Yeah, I think I saw that in one of your videos. Yeah.
So it's nice. It's really good to be able to sit down with you and rub minds. Today, by the way, we want to discuss a very important topic, and this topic is leadership. What is leadership, and who is a leader? And how can leadership be maximized or improved upon to really help guide ourselves as individuals and our families, our communities, our companies, to reaching our full potential. That's pretty much what we want to delve into today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Leadership is it's broad, but yeah, we should be able to do something about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, Victor, from your perspective, you're a leadership coach.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So this is something that you deal with on a day-to-day.
Okay.
And from your experience and your interactions with people, what do you feel entails a leader?
So, when it comes to that, when you go by the literature on leadership, you have different definitions and all that.
Yeah.
But I think there is a quote by Warren Bennis, a leadership authority, and also Peter Drucker, where they said leadership is doing the right thing while management is doing things right, because sometimes we kind of mix these two up, leadership and management.
Correct.
So basically, one of the things very, very important to understand, that leadership is about direction and decisions.
Correct.
So that's a major aspect. So because you can't have a leader that doesn't have a vision. He has to have something he wants to bring into the present. That's a leader. The reason why somebody is following him, why people are following him, is because he has something they see he's trying to bring, and they are interested in it. So that goes even for personal leadership. As an individual, you are leading your life based on certain vision you have for yourself. So this is just basically, just the basics of what I would say a leader is. So basically, the important thing is direction and decisions, because decisions, these are what
they
go hand in hand. So I think I'll just go with that. And to point out, because I always like discussing leadership interrelated with management. The thing about management is about resources and discipline. Management is about getting things done.
Correct.
But leader is about direction, decision. So when I look at who is a leader, I'm looking at who is the person who sells the vision to the people, who is going after something, and the leader has to have integrity. That's the strongest virtue of leadership, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely on point because, I mean, it's just like you have a ship. You know, the leader you can equate to the captain of the ship. He decides the destination. The crew is going to actually set off on that voyage. You know, and once the destination is defined, the next thing obviously is deciding the best route to actually get there. And once that's also cleared up, then it's about the execution. That's where the crew comes into play.
That's the management.
Yeah, that's the management part. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's good that we have that distinction. You know,
Clear.
because a lot of times there are things people tend to overlap.
Exactly.
You know, and get things mixed up, and
Yeah.
that's where we have problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, a leader, in my experience and interacting with people, observing the way things play out in society and, you know, different levels, I kind of understand that a leader, you know, people tend to feel that I commented on a post, let me put this out there, a post recently on LinkedIn.
Okay.
It was by the famous Madame Alakija. And,
Okay, I think I saw that. Okay.
Yeah, and she defined a leader as one who carries everyone along.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of like the general perception of leadership. But the problem I have with that definition is people, when you look particularly in our Nigerian context,
Okay.
and the way government is run, the way the relationship between the governed and the government specifically, you find that this carrying everyone along mentality isn't really yielding the dividends that are expected.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. You know, in as much as the leader has a specific vision or set of goals that he or she intends to bring to the fore, there's every need that people are actually invested in that vision. People are actually committed to it. They appreciate it. You know, it's not just about okay, someone comes out and says, I'm gonna eliminate poverty, or I'm gonna do this and that, and then everyone kind of like celebrates.
Yeah.
You know, they say all the right things, but he gets into power, or she gets into power, and the people are kind of like, you know, everything is on that person's shoulders. You know, this leadership thing, I think people's concept or conception of leadership is a scapegoat, is likened to a scapegoat that they can put all their responsibilities and their hopes and aspirations on.
Yeah.
Whereas they sit back, arms folded, and waiting for results. You know, and that's a problem because
it is.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, that the rules of engagement I mentioned earlier about the interaction or the interplay between the governed and the government. People should be sensitized, you know, to know what part they have to play.
Yeah.
You know, in the whole picture.
Yeah.
The government too should know their part and shouldn't overstep it. You know, it's like I always say when it comes to issues of government, the government is there primarily to provide an enabling environment for the people to operate in which they, the people, would create solutions to their problems, period. You know?
Yeah, well, I agree with you. You see, but the challenge when it comes to politics is it's always a very dicey thing, because the real rule of leadership is empowerment.
Correct.
It's empowerment.
Correct.
Now, the issue with country politics is a very, very funny one, because you have the who is the leader of a country has to do with the level of the mindset of a people, because when it comes to voting, everybody's allowed to vote.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't even understand basic values can vote.
That's right.
So basically, it becomes a game where the politician has to play the game to that number. You understand? So that's why it will always be this game.
Right.
I will not tell you every single thing. I will not tell you everything you need to know, so that I can always get you next 4 years to So that's the challenge. But you see, the more evolved an environment is, the better when it comes to the choice of leadership and all, because first of all, the leader has to be accountable.
Correct.
You have to clearly come out to spell out the processes. Now, the how will I put it? The intellectuals or the more evolved in the environment have to bring that leader to questioning. That means, okay, you say you're going to do this.
Right.
How are you going to do? It is in all those debates that the people now are watching to like you have in the United States where they have this debate and all that. Yeah. But I think that even in the US, I think they need to even do better from.
Oh, definitely.
A whole lot has to be done better. But basically, you want the most courageous individual with integrity and who understands empowerment, because you want to take your country to somewhere.
Right.
And you can't do it alone.
That's right.
You have to sell a vision to them, and then enable them, create, just like you said, create the enabling environment for them to thrive. You remember when Martin Luther King made his statement of "I have a dream." He sold a vision. He left. A few years after that, he died. A few years after that, but then that vision is still in play. It's still something people are still aspiring to. Yeah. So that's a very critical thing. Just like you have mentioned, that it's very important, because when it's not that way, and you see with people, when they see that, I don't think these people care about us. Now you now have a game that is being played. Some people are looking, how do I get into that thing?
Right.
Since it is a game, it's not really about any tangible thing.
Progress.
So how do I get into this thing and get for myself? How do I learn the game in the whole thing? And then it loses the essence of what leadership is at the end of the day. So, so when it comes to politics, it's really an area where a whole lot has to be done. But for me, I have been more concerned, about the individual. I've been more concerned.
That's the consensus here, because, like I always say, everything starts from the individual.
Exactly.
When you break down society, you have the individual. Individuals come together to make families. Families come together to make communities, and communities. It grows from there. So the problem that we have today is, a lot of the time, even through the media, the government sensitization messages and all that, they are more concerned with pushing the agenda of the collective. They don't really encourage that individual voice. And the reason is clear, just like you highlighted. The pool from which our leaders are selected is drastically limited by the awareness of the masses.
Of the masses, yeah.
And funny enough, the leaders know this.
Of course.
Because they know that if the people are kept vibrating on a certain frequency, if the people are kept at a certain level of awareness or informativeness, then they have more room above that which to play and do as they wish, without being accountable, without fulfilling the purpose for which they attained or gained access to those offices of leadership. So the challenge now becomes, how do we empower the individual? How do we enlighten the individual? in the absence of that, governmental or top-down effort to actually empower and enlighten the people in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
And this is where I think efforts or endeavors by organizations like yours and mine come into play, because at the end of the day, the government's not really ready to commit to that. But we have to get the awareness out there, because when we have more people knowing who they are, knowing why they're here, knowing what their rights are, and how to actually empower themselves and better their lives.
Exactly.
That makes for a more informed collective.
Exactly.
And that more informed collective would be able to then lobby the government to keep to its own end of the bargain.
Yeah. Because just like you have said, the more enlightened and the issue of lobbying, governments, the more enlightened an environment, and you're able to bring important things to the government,
right,
then it makes more sense. So, but just like everything you have said, when it comes down to the individual has to understand that word, personal responsibility.
Correct.
It's one of the biggest issues in life.
Yes.
And when I mean it's the biggest issue in life is a whole lot of people place blame outside.
Yes.
Maybe based on upbringing. But I think it comes a time where a human being has to see exactly what is happening.
Correct.
The human being has to believe of its own capabilities and understand that some people have done certain things to be where they are,
right,
which means that you too can do the same.
Correct.
It might not be overnight, because that's another problem, looking for the overnight thing. Yeah. And so it's important. One of the most important things, like I always see, and I'll tell anybody, is the greatest thing you can do for anybody is to be the best version of yourself and create something important. Why? Because, George, if I know you as a friend and I see you going out there to create something over time and you are able to do it, because I know you are, it's not Bill Gates out there, it's you I know. And I see all the processes, everything you have gone through to build something. At that point, nobody can convince me that I can't do it. Because I know if you, my friend, can do it, then I can do it, which is the greatest influence we have, which is really what leadership is, an essence of what leadership is, to be able to empower, to inspire others, to be able to lead their own lives. And that becomes a ripple effect. So it's not really going to be more of just telling, it's what they are seeing. They're seeing. So it's really an important aspect of the whole thing. Personal leadership. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, because personal leadership, personal integrity.
Personal integrity.
Like I mentioned earlier in the discussion, I said people tend to view leaders as a scapegoat. They can cast all their cares, as the saying goes, on his or her shoulders.
That's true.
They do this and then they sit back and wait for him or her to perform wonders. Yeah. It's not feasible. It's not practical. People need to understand that the power is in their hands to do anything.
Exactly.
If the gutters on your street are clogged up, why are you waiting for someone else to come and clean it for you? If you and those around you can get together and actually tackle that problem and free yourselves from the risk of gathering pests and mosquitoes and all of that. Things like that. The lack of personal responsibility is a cancer that's eating away at society, our communities. People sitting there and casting blame. The victim mentality.
The victim.
You were traumatized growing up, or you experienced all kinds of hardships. We all have. Not trying to belittle anyone's experiences, but the fact is, the longer you sit there not doing anything, how much has that helped you progress in life? How much growth have you achieved? How much money has it put in your pocket?
It doesn't really help.
These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. We need to really, we need to really wake up to the realities.
That's the word.
You know,
Wake up.
and
Wake
because there's been too much lackadaisical attitude towards the problems that we see around us.
Exactly.
You know, it's always, oh, who will bail the cat?
Who will bail the cat? Who will bail the cat? And you just realize when you go back to memory lane, you'll always hear this thing, especially from the elders, that it used to be good when this person was there. You move forward. It used to be good when
that person was there.
It's almost like it's always getting worse in the future.
Yeah.
But it would never change. It for me. I don't see. What I see is individuals who are able to transform their lives.
Correct.
That's what I know is the real thing, because
Correct.
this thing even trickles down to the family. You know, it trickles down to the family, and where a family doesn't even have a vision, there's a problem. There's always going to be a contest between the husband and the wife.
Correct.
The husband wants what he says to be the
all
in all. The wife can't take, you know, the new age is not like how it was. But what am I saying? There's where two come together is a team to create something even better.
That's right.
That means that I'm looking at your strengths, you're looking at my strengths. That means the husband and the wife, they look at their strengths and forge together to make each other's weakness irrelevant. And they're able to create something like Stephen Covey will call it the third alternative. That means a better idea.
Yeah.
So if we come and we're discussing on certain issues, so this is what I'm thinking about this thing, this is what you're thinking about this thing, they could actually bring those two together and create even something better than both of them could have.
Precisely.
You know, so, but very important that individuals have to take, we say this, take responsibility. And when for instance, in coaching, what we try to help people do is to look at life both from the long term and the short term.
Right.
Because the big problem is people are always in the short term. They're always in the treadmill.
Immediate gratification.
You understand. And I always tell people, see, the first things first is you have to begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
Because if you study all the great men, all the great people, you can imagine Jeff Bezos is building the 10-year clock and all that.
Yeah.
You see, now let's look at Amazon, for instance. Amazon started and Jeff wasn't concerned about profits for 9 years.
Yeah.
And there were critics who were trying to poison the minds of investors and all that. But look at Jeff Bezos today. He's
raking in the dividends.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But he put in the work. He had the imagination. He did the homework, which is what, as an individual, the idea is, where do you feel your interest is in, your strength? Where do you feel you have an inclination in? Because that is you leading your life, you taking responsibility, not trying to follow the crowd. Because, you know, when the new government came in and it was almost like, oh, agriculture, everybody became a farmer. Which shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
Where is your inclination? Where are your strengths? Now, if probably to survive day to day for now, you need to be going to do what you need to do, your job or whatever, you should be able to create time.
Yes.
To work on what you really want to do. Yeah, what your core is, you know. And in doing that over time, you have to give it time, because you're going to fail, you're going to learn.
Yep.
Especially, for instance, I come from a family that were civil servants.
Okay.
They were not into business, and going into business, I have to learn. I'm still learning.
Yep.
Like, I have to make friends that are, because it's not something that come easy. It's not so. I have to read a lot of books about it.
Yeah.
You know. But what am I saying is, we should, as individuals, we should be able to step back.
Yes.
Leave the whole societal buzz, trying to be famous and looking like what? No. Because you ask yourself, in 5 years' time, things will change. The people around you might not even be there anymore.
Correct.
So what are you doing all that rumbling about? The most important thing is, what value can you bring? And that value can only be unique to you.
That's right.
So very important, as an individual, you have to have your long-term plans and your short-term plans. And while you are trying to survive, do whatever, you have to be working on the long-term plans with the, because I mean, we all have 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Both Bill Gates, both Zuckerberg, both
Everybody.
the poorest man, everybody has 24 hours. But it's now allocation of the most important resource you have.
That's right.
And if you are able to apply it, I mean, these days you go to the streets and there are books, good books that they sell out on the road, 1,000 naira.
Yeah.
I mean, just get a book and read and expose yourself. You know, so it's, so when you say, when you talk about this leadership thing, it's a big thing. But more importantly, it's about individuals, you know, it's about direction. Where is your life going to? You have to make good about your life because that affects every other person. Just take, for example, your life gets better. You can support some other people.
That's right.
Their own life gets better. They can support. So it becomes
It's
a
a mushroom
ripple
effect.
Exactly. So it's a huge deal. This whole issue of personal responsibility. It is.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned time because, for instance, there's this young man, Foster eBay. Shout out to Foster eBay. He mentioned something very important, and that is time is the real currency.
Yeah.
You know, people overlook that.
Yeah.
Every person on this earth is allotted the same amount of time.
Yes.
But what are you investing or spending that time on?
Yeah.
These are the keys.
Very important.
You know, because if we cannot account for our expenditures, then you're as good as lost.
That's true.
These are the things. And, you know, you talk about how people fail to realize, you know, look inward and understand what they focus their attention on. Because attention, whatever you focus your attention on, I mean, that's basically what your reality is going to reflect.
Exactly.
You know, Grant Cardone says attention follows money.
Definitely.
Or rather, money
follows
attention.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know, if your attention is focused on things that are not going to enrich or enlighten or uplift you,
yeah,
then you shouldn't be surprised when you're at the bottom of the pile.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
So people need to read, like you said. Yes, books, very good books are available.
Yeah.
You know, you could just spend a little money and get something that has the potential to lift you so many miles higher than where you are at the moment. Even the internet is even the ultimate.
You've
got free libraries.
Yeah.
Access to information that hitherto was simply not available to the average person. I mean, there are books.
We are in an era
where
I mean, if there are people in a particular era, if they were in this era.
Oh boy.
But you see, also the internet is also a platform where the huge distractions.
That's the thing.
And that's why there has to be the decision. Yes, the direction. There has to be the clarity of what's up.
Yeah.
And you have to now know how to channel your time. And you see, for instance, you mentioned books.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, with our institutions, is the fact that they made learning, some of them made, will I say, that system,
the system itself.
some of them made learning so painful that, you know, you remember when you are about to graduate in school and you are like thinking of how you just pack all the books and just throw them away, like you're done, you'd never do this. Now that mindset follows people over time, and when you just tell them to read the book, it's like why would you tell me to read the book?
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate thing because the institution is supposed to help people understand the value in knowledge.
Correct.
Now think about it. We can only operate to the level of our mindset.
Yeah.
You can't operate beyond that.
No.
Your life is basically playing out the philosophy. That means the story you have woven as real. Now, what does a book do? If you open yourself to a sound information, it's like it comes and it breaks the ceiling of that mindset.
Your horizon.
It expands your horizon.
Yes.
So that means when it comes to when you want to make choices, you have more options in making, not the
Precisely.
small. What you, so you would wonder why all the top guys are reading as though their life depends on it.
Exactly.
You know, all of them, from Elon to Bill Gates to all of them, and you just wonder why the masses don't want to read.
They don't want
You
to
can't
read.
understand what's going on.
They want the fruits. Without
The roots. You understand? So and you see, the thing with reading is it's supposed to be a habit, a lifetime thing, something you keep doing, because the more you do it, over time it brings forth.
Correct.
It brings forth, and it affects you in every aspect. You know, I probably haven't told you this.
Okay.
The person I'm married to today, my wife.
Okay.
And I'll say it because I know that a whole lot of people, their relationship have broken because of a blind spot. Now, while I was dating her, I think it was basically in our second year of dating.
Yeah.
We got to a deadlock.
Wow.
A dead end. And we had unofficially broken up. We had not said it, but we had gotten tired of it. Now, at that point, we had gotten to that place. I picked up a book, an audio book, and it was Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I was playing it on my vehicle in Abuja, you know, just driving towards that Glow area where Glow is. And at a point, I got conscious of something he was saying, and he said something so profound that I had to park my car to listen to what. George,
I know the feeling.
the things he was saying, he just opened a blind spot of what was wrong with our relationship.
Exactly.
It was so profound, I had to call her and tell her that I would like to see her the next day, and she came. You know, at first she was like, she'll be busy. I told her, please, just come. I want to share something with you, and after that you can go.
Yeah.
And when she came, all I did was play that part. And immediately she listened to it, she just smiled. What am I saying?
Yeah.
A book might have the treasure or the thing that is holding you from the next place.
Exactly.
Relationships have broken up because of blind spot, because of perspective, because of how they see things. Businesses have broken because of that.
Yeah.
You can imagine somebody saying, my business is not working, but the person has an attitude problem towards customer. He probably doesn't know how. So that's why I had to draw the attention of books. They open the blind spot which you are not seeing.
That's right.
And help you to make better decisions.
Correct.
So a well-informed person, a continuous evolved person, would always be able to direct his path.
Yes.
And why I brought out the issue about this, because the truth is that relationship would have gone. But today, this is my wife.
Precisely.
Like married for this is going to 6 years.
Great.
But just to show you the importance of personal development, personal growth, personal responsibility.
It's awesome that you delved into this, because for me, I subscribe to what I call SDL, self-directed learning.
Self-directed learning.
From the earliest point of my childhood, I've always been curious.
Yeah, you have always been a reader. You have always been a reader.
I have my mom to thank me for that, because the curiosity that sticks with me to this day. She pointed me, my mom, to reading, and I've stuck with it till date. I'm always collecting books. I'm always reading, and even when we were in school, secondary school.
No, I think I know you with that.
my pocket money was always going to that.
Books,
I never limited myself to the syllabus that was prescribed by the system.
Yeah.
I always read ahead. I just felt that, this sense of urgency. I was not satisfied with what was in front of us.
Exactly.
So I read ahead. I bought books on management, on,
I remember.
entrepreneurship, on politics, on everything.
Yeah.
As the years went on, I broadened that scope.
Exactly.
To everything. Things that society has basically either turns a blind eye on or keeps mull about.
Yeah.
From our interrelationships with each other, our relationship with ourselves, sexuality, how to actually build wealth.
Exactly.
Things like that are rarely talked about.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, these are the issues that are really crippling us as a people.
Yeah.
Because those subjects, those issues that are not touched, you find them to be integral to the well-roundedness
of an individual,
our personality, or character.
Yeah.
So it's very important that, like you said, the school system is structured in a way that makes it painful for the average person to actually learn. So painful that when they finally get out,
it's like
that's
it's got out of prison.
Yeah. So you show up average person a book and they're like, what else? But that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
I wish that everyone.
And I had that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that feeling. When I was leaving higher institution. I was like, I'm done here. I'm done with all this. But just like you said, and that's what happened to you. Your mom.
Yeah.
That's influence and that's leadership.
Correct.
She sowed the seed that has helped who you are and who you are becoming. Yeah.
Correct.
For me, I think it was my dad. I always saw him reading. And I always knew he had sound judgment.
Right.
You understand? And that got me into it because I'll go and pick his books. You understand? And I'll be flipping them. I loved that. Flipping them, reading. And you start seeing so powerful things in books.
Yeah.
So powerful things in books that the whole societal media and all won't tell you. They won't tell you. Because life is about finding out things for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to find out things. Not everybody will come and tell you this is this or this is how to do this and all. You have to learn.
That's right.
And when you look at the society, the United States, you think of, the men who built America, if you've watched that series, and these people had to learn, they had to study, the Henry Ford.
Yep.
I'm presently reading John D. Rockefeller, the Andrew Carnegie's,
the Carnegies,
Thomas Edison, then even their leaders from Roosevelt, from Lincoln, from Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, they were readers. They learned, they studied.
Yeah.
You can imagine, look at Oprah, Luther King. These people, they devoured books.
Right.
Now coming to the likes of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. I find these guys at their young age, Jobs I took so much interest in him. Although, I think at some point he had his own emotional.
Yeah.
But this guy was so, and I think as young as individuals, from young, there's this curiosity we all have.
Yes.
But I think something about society
stifles that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it's even family it starts from. You ask a question, they're like, you're asking too much questions. But things you like have to promote that. I always say that marriage is also one of the best personal development platforms. Why? Because when you marry, it's like you start learning anew. You have a son or a child, he's asking you questions. You have to also learn, you have to start learning all over again. You have to start researching all over again. And
as you share knowledge, as you share experiences, as you teach, you're learning.
You are also learning. So I saw with all these guys, one key habit. They guzzled books. They were curious.
Yes.
And that made them so resolute, because to pursue a vision, to pursue a dream, you have to be absolutely courageous about it.
Correct.
In the sense, it's not that you won't have fears, but there's a resounding belief about what you're going after.
Yeah.
And most times it happens because of what you now know, by learning, by researching, by studying. You can imagine what made Jeff Bezos go down that road, and everybody thought the dude was like, you want to sell books? Are you mad? And he kept on, and 9 years, no profit. But then after that, to where he is. So there's something about reading, and it's not that you are copying or taking exactly. You have to have your own mind. It's almost like the person is showing you, it's pointing. He's just giving you some other things for you to think and make your own decision. Because another problem with books is people read a book and take it hook, line, and sinker. No,
that's the problem.
There is also a reason in you. You should be able to reason things out.
You know, that's very important. You mentioned before, you know, about when this current government came into power and you know, announced a focus on agriculture. And suddenly everybody was jumping into agriculture. That is a big problem we have in this part of the world. Well, specifically in the Nigerian context.
Yeah.
The groupthink, the herd
mentality.
You know, because people. Why it's like this is because you find that the average person is outwardly directed.
Outwardly.
And when you are outwardly directed, you have completely shut yourself off from the source.
The real source.
Of your essence.
Exactly.
You know? We are all connected to the universal reservoir of knowledge, right? But in as much as that is true, we all have a unique interpretation.
You see what you're saying now is so profound. Continue.
Of what is revealed to us. I mean, just like I illustrated the last time we met. I said if it started raining right now and you asked two different people to go out there, come back and describe what they had seen, the first one would say it's raining cats and dogs. The other one would say it's just drizzling. It's a light drizzle. But it's the same rain that they witnessed.
Different interpretations. Yeah.
It stresses the importance of us listening to ourselves. We can't go around the world, go around life, only, you know, bouncing off whatever we see on the outside. You know, we have to be, you know, we must manifest from the inside out. Yeah. It's like they talk about beauty and such, you know, being skin deep and all that. Real beauty comes from within. You know, if you have good character and all that, it's bound to show. Definitely. You know, it's like energy. Yeah. And everyone around you energy. Feel it, and they'd be attracted to the good vibes that you are giving out.
Exactly.
So people need to stop this copycat mentality. Yeah. The herd mentality. Somebody opens up a shop on your street and they're selling provisions.
And you just go and copy.
And you hear that he or she is
just made
$1 million every week, and you feel, okay, if he can do it,
then I should be able to.
I should get into the same
same thing.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
sense. And
then
you pour in all your savings and you start it, and you know, a month or two later you're flat bankrupt, and then you're blaming it again on somebody else.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it's either you say, you know, just a whole lot of things.
Yeah. Government this, one thing that,
or some uncle in the village is doing something.
Village, I like that. The village is always
the
one that takes the highest blame.
You know?
But you see, like Covey said, he said, whenever you think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem.
Yes.
Whenever you think the problem is out there,
outside of you,
that very thought, that thinking, that thing you're thinking, that's the problem. And it's so important when it comes to organizations, family, and the individual. Because you have to know that you are not perfect in the sense that find where are you lacking?
Where are you at fault?
Where are you at fault?
It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
If two people are dancing and one keeps stepping on the other's foot, perhaps you need to adjust your own step to avoid it. But you just keep blaming only that person.
Exactly.
If baby is dancing for the first time, then you, who has more experience, can actually, you know, help.
Definitely.
Guide the flow. These are the things in life, in relationships, in business. We need to always, first of all, look within. What are we doing that is bringing that friction, that is complicating things, that is limiting our growth?
Very important, because you see, George, where this is even more important is, for instance, I'll give both the business and family. In marriage, the responsibility of choice of a partner is with us.
That's right.
So when you start blaming, understand that you are blaming yourself, not the other person. Until you understand how the responsibility of choice is left with you. Then when you want to choose your partner, you will take it very seriously. If it's something you want to last forever, you will think of it as though something that will last forever. That means you will give it
kind of a technical challenge that cut our video feed abruptly. With that being said, we've been discussing leadership. This is your host, Ezeagu Ndi-GBO, my good friend, Victor Onochie, and we kind of delved deeply into the topic of leadership and how it applies and affects us as individuals in our relationships, first of all with ourselves, and then with those around us, be it our family, the community, organizations we work for, and then the nation as a whole. So leadership is something that everyone needs to delve into because there's the need for that. Victor, you mentioned personal responsibility.
Definitely.
You know, and this is things that people take for granted. And when you fail to narrow down what it is that makes you tick, what it is that your purpose is, you find that you scatter your energy, because when you haven't narrowed down why you're here, why you're doing what you do, you're going to be all over the place. And when you're all over the place, those around you will pick off of that energy. For instance, in your family, if you're the man and you don't have a vision, and you're not working towards it, your children are not going to be inspired. Your wife's not going to be inspired. What follows is chaos and disintegration. So we need to understand these things. These are universal laws that guide our lives and everything that we're about. So, yeah, Victor, I don't know if you can summarize your train of thought before we had that interruption.
Okay, so I think I was basically at that point where it went off. We started delving into love and all that, because, like I said love and leadership go hand in hand. But the challenge is what we say love is. Mm-hmm. You know, we look at it as an emotional thing and all that. Fortunately for love, let me put it that way, love is it's the most powerful force in the universe.
Indeed it is.
It's only because of love that anything here has come into existence.
Correct.
It's because of love that we are in existence. Mm-hmm. I used a definition of love from M. Scott Peck in his book The Road Less Traveled, where he said love is the will to extend oneself for the sake of nurturing one's own or another person's spiritual growth.
Correct.
So I also said that when sometimes these things are semantics, that you hear spiritual growth and the next thing you think about is, okay, the shrine, the church, the mosque, no. The spirit is the essence in us. What is communicating by way and manner of who is here and who is here is the spirit.
That's the spirit.
If spirit goes, the body falls on the floor. Mm-hmm. So how does that essence, how do we be even better? How do we grow to be more? Because what we're experiencing in life, what we create in life, is the level of the spirit, where the spirit's essence is.
Correct.
But the spirit is also tapped to an infinite source. So it has to constantly latch on to that source. That's why you keep talking about inside out.
Yes.
So whatever I do to help that's why leadership is empowerment, and empowerment is about helping the person to go inward to be more of who they are.
Yes.
So that's the part I was trying to bring in to the whole table, because without love we can't create.
Exactly.
And love has a thing to do with responsibility. We're just talking about the fact that if I'll always use the example of Gates, for instance. There's Apple. Okay, let me use Jobs.
Yeah.
If Jobs did not take the responsibility of what he wanted to create, he wouldn't have given it everything, done the research, his time. And that's where it's through love that you find purpose, calling, and all. So, in essence, love is value. Love is so powerful a thing. And basically, in everything we have said, a leader has to tap into that. Unfortunately, in society, we conflict the role of a manager and a leader.
That's right.
Doing things, getting things done and all. Those are all management. It's about, when you go to management, it's about discipline, like I have said, getting things done all. But That's the most important part about direction.
Yeah.
So self-love says that I value my life, my time here so much that I find my uniqueness to express it the very best. And our uniqueness is always about serving
others.
It's always about service.
Correct.
And that's where your passion is. I've heard a whole lot of people talk about how this whole passion thing, forget about this whole passion thing, go and look for how to. I'm like, where are we getting the real essence of passion wrong?
Right.
All great people pursue passion. And all of them says, look for passion. We need to understand what passion is. It's a burning interest.
Burning interest.
Can anybody beat you where you pursue a burning interest?
Not at all.
Like you will do it for 8 hours and non-stop. Yeah. So that's what passion is. Not really about hobbies and all that. No, passion is burning interest.
Yeah.
And there's a fire about something. You see, go to that place where you have that.
Yeah.
If you stay there, something will come. Gates' burning interest was coding and all that. Then.
That's right.
And from there, something came out. He spent his time there, and it's a whole lot with different people. So basically, leadership is love. Love has a lot to do with, you see, it's connected, passion, all that, and imagination. So you talked about the family. To wrap up, if a man, if a woman do not have the imagination, the vision of where they are going to, there's a problem. And that's why to get married, there has to, one of the challenges couples face is the aspect of vision and values.
Correct.
If I want to get married to somebody, in our discussion, I have to know that there is some similarity of where we see us going to in life.
That's right.
That's the vision.
That's right.
And what we think marriage is. Those are the values. How we see marriage, what I think a wife is, what I think a husband is.
Correct.
There has to be that similarity.
There has to be that marriage of mindset.
Which is the values and the vision. So it's still in the essence of leadership.
Yeah.
And so I must be interested in what my wife has as what she sees herself to be.
Right.
She has to be interested in what I want to be.
Correct.
And the love I have for her is to help her be the best
that she can be. In her
the same thing with us.
Reciprocated.
And for us to create the environment for our kids too, and all.
It's like I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying. So love is not one feeble thing. People think love is one feeble thing.
They talk about falling in love. Love is a conscious thing.
It's a conscious thing.
You see each other, you see that flame, you see that potential in each other, and you have to be awake. You have to be aware to be able to spot that out, and then you decide to go for it.
You go for it, because something inside you keeps guiding you.
Yes.
You're listening to your inner voice.
That's right.
It keeps guiding you. But if you have subdued that voice to the point you don't hear it anymore, then that's where you're in a big road. It's a big thing. And you see, the story of Apple, Steve Jobs, and the Pepsi guy, I've forgotten his name. Yeah. But that's the example of leadership and management. Jobs was the leader.
Yeah.
He knew where he wanted to take Apple to.
Correct.
He was young.
Correct.
He had to bring somebody who understood how to run a business, the systems. Because business is the system, that's the management and all that. But unfortunately for him, Jobs started playing a whole lot of emotional games and all that, and the board at some point had to let him go. But think about it. They had built Apple to a point. And Apple was bringing forth profits, and all. It was, but when Jobs left, we have to remember that a point came and Apple started going into a decline.
Yes.
They had to go and look for the guy who had the vision. They knew if there was anybody who can take Apple back to where it is, they had to go and look for a leader.
Yes.
The person who could see. And at that point, Jobs had grown to be a more matured, a better person. Right. And he came in, and what did he do? Did he start saying, okay, let's make better? No, he cut off a whole lot of things. That these are not Apple-like.
Right.
he directed on certain things and made Apple what it is, and he has gone, and Apple is still.
Apple's still in
he,
that direction.
he was able to find
instill the vision,
instill the character,
Yep.
find the right predecessor. So at the end of the day, you understand that without leadership in an organization,
it's not going.
you guys are just going to be quenching fires, copying the next
Yeah.
system, the next what they call all those Six
Trendsetter.
Sigma, different processes,
Yeah.
but the direction of where the organization
Not
is
be
going
there.
to, because Amazon, they didn't make profit for 9 years, just like I've said. So at the very essence, just to conclude,
Yeah.
leadership is the most important thing, personal leadership,
Personal
and it
leadership,
has to be rooted with integrity and love.
Yes.
If we understand what it is. So I think I'll just end here.
Much appreciated, Victor. You know, this has been a most edifying and auspicious discussion, because leadership is something that's really lacking in our relationships
Definitely.
with each other as a people,
Definitely.
and with, between the governed and the government.
Yeah.
This needs to be addressed.
It
And like I
needs to.
said earlier on, it's important that we help expand the horizons of the masses.
Yeah.
Because it's very much limited. And when the masses have a limited, scope by which they view the world, obviously that limits also the pool of leaders, of options that they feel they have for leaders to choose from.
Yeah.
But we have to give them those options. We have to show them that they have more options. And that's by enlightening themselves, by reading more, by
Growing. Taking responsibility.
taking responsibility.
Yeah.
You've got to take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
Stop blaming anything or
Anything.
anyone outside
Anything.
of yourself.
Seriously.
Always ask your question. I mean, it takes two to tango. So if you're in a fix, you got to look within. Ask yourself, what have I done to contribute to this problem? How am I fueling the fire? If you understand how you are fueling the fire and you stop fueling the fire, at least if that fire was burning at 100%, it's now going to be 70 or 50, because you've shut the tap of fuel from your end. But if you don't, if you keep looking at the next person and expecting them to bail the cat or take the lead, you're only prolonging the problem.
And you've taken the power of change out of the whole context.
Yeah, so these are the things. We need to be personally responsible for ourselves and take it upon ourselves to really heal ourselves, improve upon ourselves, grow in every sense of the word. This is how we make the world a better place. This is how we make our lives better. This is how we inspire those around us to be better. When you, for instance, in the family setting, if you, the husband or the father, is really devoted to that vision you have for yourself, and your wife sees that, your children see that, you're inspiring them to devote themselves towards their own, individual processes and all that. We talked about children, the relationship between parents and children, how most parents tend to overprotect or want to shield their children from every form of harm. I said something back in 2014. I said, you cannot child-proof the world, but you can world-proof the child. By creating a cocoon around your child, you are robbing that child of the wealth of experience and knowledge that they would acquire from making their own mistakes, from getting hurt, from falling and getting up again. We have to understand these things, because
it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. There is no success without failure.
There's none. I don't know of anyone.
So these are the things, people. Let's keep this discussion going. I really appreciate the time that you have spent to listen to us, and we hope that you would share your thoughts and ideas on this very topic in the comment section. And if it's your first time to the channel, please do hit the like button and subscribe, so that whenever we release new content or subsequent discussions, you'll be notified immediately about it. And this has been an awesome discussion, Victor.
Yes.
On leadership. we really got to do this again.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, you just suggested it one day. We should try this, and
Yeah.
I was like, and this is it. It has happened.
It has happened.
Yeah. So
It's happened.
if you didn't take the lead, this would not be.
That would
happening.
not happen. That's
So-
the thing.
so that's
we can't. We've got to take the initiative.
Yeah.
Take the bull by the
Yeah,
horns.
collaboration.
That's
That's
right.
all.
Collaborate.
That's all. That's leadership. That's
Yeah.
it. No one can create any meaningful thing alone. Nobody has done it.
That's right.
Never ever.
Never ever.
You know, go back to the sages. Then they always worked.
It's always a collective
Yeah,
effort.
there's a collective effort. So
It's about the synergy.
synergy. Yeah.
Synergy. You
Yeah.
know, a husband and a wife come together. You both meet each other that first time, and you consider coming together for any number of reasons. But the primary reason that you choose to come together is because deep down inside, you understand and appreciate that if you on your own can achieve, say in terms of monetary terms, if you can make $1 billion on your own struggle, and your husband can make the same, together, with all that you know combined, and with your efforts, you're together in the same amount of time it took you to make $1 billion on your own, the both of you are going to make 10 billion.
So that's the thing about synergy, because
that's the
synergy is not 1 plus 1.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
exponential.
an exponential multiplication.
It's, and it comes from an abundant mentality. You have to have
Yes.
that mindset.
Yes.
That we can do even a whole lot more.
Together.
You know, so it's a key trait of leadership, because you can't create a team, you can't create an organization. You know, so these are the things we have to grow to learn, to understand, and then
live by.
live by. Yeah. So it shouldn't be competition.
No.
Because marriage is, you know, a whole lot of competition in marriages. I don't know. I don't know why. But
It comes from that lack of that understanding of, you know, the importance of what we just said, you know, synergy and the advantages that come with it.
I think also copying some some societal, because I mean, if you are pure in your essence, evolving and I am, we really wouldn't be having issues. Do you understand?
Yep.
A husband and a wife. The husband wants the very best for his wife.
Yep.
The wife wants what's very best for the husband. My wife should be able to tell me the things I need to work on.
Correct.
Because the good advantage I have in having her is I have somebody seeing my blind spot.
Exactly.
We don't get to understand the fact that I can't see everything.
No, we can't.
Somebody else comes. That's why you hire a coach, for instance, to see your blind spot, to help you be better. You have a wife, you have a husband. If they love you, that means they want the best for you.
Yeah.
They know how to communicate to you areas where you can get better. And they don't what's the word? They do not criticize in the sense of putting you down.
Yeah.
You know they love you. So they speak from a place of love.
Yeah.
And they help you. The same thing you do for them. So it's like a tag team. You guys.
Team thing.
The same thing happens in organizations. People come into organizations. They should get better when they are leaving the organization.
Exactly.
Their leaders should see their potential. That's what leadership is about. Help bring it out. Do you understand? And try as much as possible to help their weakness irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
But also, when I mean weakness, it doesn't mean that they should carry on unhealthy behaviors.
No.
That's a different thing. It's
But
that
they
they
should
should learn,
transcend
they should
beyond
transcend it. So
Yes.
that's what leadership is about: shining the light on the potential. That's why vision is potential. What can be,
What can
imagination, and all. So that's it. And better world, better place, better marriage, better society, better everything.
That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victor. Much appreciated, brother.
Nice one.
Yep.
Nice one.
And thank you all once again. This is Prince Obioha, Ezeagu and Ndi-GBO from GBOriginal Cre8ors. We are weaving a new reality from the equator. Thank you, and God bless.